Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the GenAI news briefing. I am here with the GAI analysts as always, and we are going to bring you several stories today that we will let you know whether you need to know them or you can just kind of pass over them and trust us on that and save yourself some reading time. We're all about to head over to MIT for the AI and business conference that takes place tomorrow. We're very excited, and a lot of us haven't met in person, so it'll be good to see what our full bodies look like. And hopefully, we'll see some people watching the show there too. So if you see us there, come up and introduce yourself. And we're going to kick off today with another version of our potential theme song. At the end of the week, I'm going to stick these in the newsletter. So if anybody is a subscriber, you'll get little clips of these and you'll get to vote on them at the end of the week. So today we're going to preview a pop version of the song. My prompt was upbeat pop, and I put in the same words as last time, although maybe I'll see if I want to try out some other words in the future. So let me bring this up. Here we go. All right, 30 seconds of generative AI wonder. Here you go. E-I-E-I-E-I-O GAI Insights puts you in the know. Is it a true breakthrough or just for show? Listen every morning, we will tell you so. Here's the E, here's the I, here's the E-I-O. Sharing AI insights that you need to know. From essential to important to optional, GAI Insights rates the news for you.
Dave, I love it. And I think when Paul comes on stage at MIT, we should play the song.
That's a good idea. I'm going to have to ask him if he'd be up for that. Yeah, the only criticism I have on that one is they don't give it a real distinct chorus, that pops in there. So I like how it starts off, but I got to see if I could put a prompt in there that kind of forces it to actually create a true song structure. But anyway, that's that for today. Let's go ahead and jump in. We'll bring Ankaj and our articles to the stage.
All right. I'll just give a quick summary that we have 6 articles to review today. We have a couple of product announcements. The one from Zendesk that will start. We got another product announcement from Mega Systems and also from NVIDIA. We have some good news about Microsoft and investments they're making, probably trying to mitigate their risk from working only with OpenAI. An influencer, and Chris, I can't wait to hear your comments on that and their review on products and what that does. And then an announcement on use cases from a bank in Brazil. And it's very nice to hear them use AWS because it seems like always we're reviewing news that cover Microsoft. So with that, let's get started, Ankash.
Thanks, Tanya. So the first one that we have for today is from Zendesk. Zendesk is offering its users generative AI solutions, which can help them identify sentiments of callers and also provide various other features to support their customer agents.
Excellent. And I think, Dave, I assigned this one to you, if I'm not mistaken. Yep.
Yeah, this one's for me. So, Gendesk, maybe they should change their name to that now. Zendesk, is a company that's in the customer service space, right? They actually create customer service software. They've been around for a while. So it would make sense that they would go ahead and tap GenAI for this since it's one of the perfect use cases for it. I'm probably going with optional, but I'll tell you why I was borderline important, I guess, because they had some additional features that they talked about that I just thought it would be of interest for an executive to know about. So, they have kind of the common use case where, of course, it's going to serve as an assistant for a customer service agent that gives them some context and information that they'll help them answer a service call better. They've also integrated the CRM system with the data. So I thought that was interesting. It's supposed to give it a little bit of a boost and I think a little personalization. And then there's another feature where they're using generative AI to help determine how many agents are needed for a shift. So I thought that was an interesting use case. And then, there's a little big brother to this, but I know it's happening already in this space where it will analyze the agent's performance. And so companies will be able to do that at scale. Whereas I think, for now, they kind of just pick out some and do it manually. And then lastly, it can prioritize the agent's work. So when they come in and there's like a zillion things to do, it's kind of got a personalized recommendation saying, hey, focus on this for 2 hours first and then go elsewhere. So I thought it had some nice features that we haven't really heard being used before, which made me borderline important. So I'm curious as to what others think.
I like Zendesk. I've used it in the past. It's exciting to see that they're adding AI. I think it's a natural fit for them to sort of augment the human-based help desk. So I think it's, if you're using Zendesk in your support business, it could be a very important thing for your business to look at. Maybe you're saving time and money and effort on your help desk efforts. So Zendesk definitely has a really nice size footprint. So it totally makes sense that we would mark this possibly as important just because of their size of footprint of users.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've managed help desk in the past. Zendesk is usually your first tool you start with, and as the company grows, then you'll transition to something more like ServiceNow. And I agree with you, David. I think that the workforce management, I really like that automation, especially because I think you can transfer that to other industries, right? So think about those massage MV type of places, right? They need to schedule how many massage therapists they need to bring in because they get paid hourly. And so to be able to kind of estimate, hey, how many appointments do we think we're going to get versus how many therapists do I need to call in? And that can apply also to restaurants and waitressing. So while it's not a help desk ticketing type of process, I think that workforce management piece is very clever. So, I mean, I think it's an important news for those who use Zendesk, but probably optional for the rest, the larger corporations that are probably using ServiceNow. Any other comments on that? Otherwise, we'll move on to the Microsoft article.
Yes.
All right. We're going to go with, we'll say important, because we do have a lot of, our target audience covers, mid-sized to large enterprises. So we'll go with important for Zendesk. So let's move on to the Microsoft article, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the next one is from Microsoft. So Microsoft is investing $1.5 billion in G42, an Emirati company which has ties to China. So Microsoft seems to be hedging its bets against OpenAI.
Yeah. John, kick us off on this one, please.
Yes. All right. Can we add to the list of John Sviocla why I love Satya Nadella one more time? Talk about a fantastic strategic move. I mean, when you look at, the Middle East, they're investing in, Falcon and, the sovereign wealth funds. They want to be part of this, capability. The Emiratis are there. Also, Microsoft doesn't want to, abandon China and really anger them. So, for them to, and if you read through the article, yes, people are worried and so forth, but they've done the politics, and I bet they have the support of the security agencies in doing this investment. And when you think about what's the axis of AI and especially generative AI investment right now, it's China, it's the U.S., and it's the Middle East wealth funds. Right, those are the people laying down big money, and that is just. I think this is just a brilliant strategic move. Microsoft has managed to do this without getting the kibosh from the Biden administration, which is, I bet, not easy given the Cold War that both Trump
They actually orchestrated it, John. If you go through the bottom of the article, it said the Biden administration kind of orchestrated this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I hear you. I'm betting on Nadella and letting them take credit. But which you should do, right? Anyway, Perhaps that's true. In any event, I think this is optional for our AI leader, for anyone interested in the global strategy of AI. This is absolutely essential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I marked it important, and I was actually even saying there's some essential topics on this article. I think, like you pointed out, the government being involved in orchestrating or overseeing things, especially because of the concerns with China and security. So I thought that was kind of unique, and it's both governments, right, involved in orchestrating this. I also thought it was interesting that Microsoft learned, right, and now they have someone from Microsoft on the board of this company, right? They're not going to do what happened last year with OpenAI and not having Microsoft over kind of seeing this. And then there was another article that this one linked to that said that they're also starting a $1 billion developer fund. And so I thought that was kind of a good thing, right? So it's not just, hey, let's make more money, but also let's help create more talent with this new agreement. So I gave it like important, and there were some like essential trends to see as more deals like this come about.
Yeah, I think I could go with important on this one. I think, I don't know, when I think about our audience and it's the AI leader, I mean, first of all, I think it's just important to understand what these major vendors, and one that you're probably using, is doing when they make kind of, big splashy moves like this. And I think that, as John said, like just Microsoft's strategy is instructive. And also, it helps the AI leader, again, we talk about this a lot, like make the case that this technology is real and should be invested in. I mean, you're seeing gigantic moves here at like a political level, trying to, keep China at bay because they know that this technology is so powerful, right? So I could go with important on that.
I'm good with that.
All right, we'll go with important it is then. Let's move on to the next one, which is Pegasystems and a product announcement.
Yep. So this one from Pegasystem, it talks about how Pega has given every worker access to a personalized generative AI powered coach.
All right, David, kick us off, please.
Yeah, so I wasn't familiar with this company, so I had to look them up. So I guess they're a no-code software provider. But this article is not about them putting GenAI into their offering. It's how they're using it within their own company. So they're basically using it as a little bit similarly to Zendesk in that it's kind of acting as an employee mentor. And what they say is that it's actually like integrated into the employee's workflow, and that it could be highly customized um, based on what that employee does, and provide recommendations to help them in their job. And for example, they gave, if you're in a back office employee and you need to know rules and regulations and like things about cases you're working on, it will serve that up. So I thought that this was an interesting tool, and I again was kind of on the borderline of important, again, just to signal to the AI leaders some of the possibilities with this. It's not just like, hey, let me take ChatGPT out of the box and give it to my employees and they're going to be more productive. There's ways to like really up the ante there and integrate it into their workflow more. I will point out again, there's still a little bit of a big brother aspect to this, because it does mention that the managers can then kind of like peek in there and see how people are doing, which, that aspect of it to me is a bit of a turn off. But overall, they're doing some interesting things. And they mentioned in this article another tool that this company had released earlier that allowed employees to like figure out how to actually act on some idea that they might have about creating an application. So, I think that this company is doing some interesting things and could be convinced it's important because of the use cases it surfaces.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, David. What about you, Chris? What do you think about this This
I love
company
the idea of the technology and some of the things they're solving. It did sort of sound like a product release. So I sort of thought that it could be optional just because it was more of a specific product sort of release. But I definitely think we're going to see these low code, no code platforms come into work environments, and they should be adopted because it's amazing how much value they bring so quickly, so efficiently, and so affordably. So.
Yeah. So we got an important and we got an optional. John, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd go for important. I think this whole notion of, internal employee productivity, as we talk about in our, briefings for organizations, the three-part movement forward, I think, with Gen AI is first education, then is operationalization, which is really getting operational leverage and value, and then the field transformation. And that's we think it's about a 2 to 3 year journey for people. And it's super important to start to do it because you actually getting going on it, and the education operationalization piece allows you to get access to dialogues and conversations and data, whether it's with your customers or internally, which you otherwise don't capture. So that's a real learning effect that takes time to build up and has real economies of scale. So I'd give it importance.
Important. I really like the feature, Dave, that you pointed out at the end of how if an employee has an idea, right, they can submit it and a blueprint will come out. I think that that's a phenomenal way of to what John is saying, to educating people to even how to think about a product that they want to automate, of a process, that they want to automate. So let's go with important with this, because I do think there's some interesting topics for our executives to kind of keep track as we want to improve employee productivity through automation.
And Tanya, would you mind if we do C6 next? Because I do need to leave to get going for our MIT thing.
Oh yeah, sure. Let's go to the bank one, Ankaj, if it's easy to go to. Okay. Thank you. You want to introduce it, Ankaj? All right, well, let's jump right into it.
Okay, sure. Yeah, C6 Bank is using this AI platform to using Amazon Web Services to help different internal activities. Two killer ones in particular that we think of as really increasable. One is software development, and in this, AI reads the software that someone creates, make sure it's doesn't have problems with it, it's bank compliant and so forth. And then the customer service, both with product support as well as training. So C6 Bank, very interesting. We've got, I think, about 10 million customers. For those who don't know, the Brazilian banking industry is actually super competitive and very forward-looking because for lots of reasons. Anyway, and C6 Bank is a startup that was started by a bunch of investment bankers down there. Another interesting wrinkle in this thing is JP Morgan Chase has a large minority stake in it. So they're really entering, kind of backdooring their way into the Brazilian market, where folks like Citibank and Unibanco and so forth have been very strong. So I would give this an important, because it's a great use case, different country, strategically important, upstart bank, and then strategic investment by JP Morgan Chase to really go into this marketplace. Really, really nice case study, real stuff happening in strategic importance.
Yep. Thank you for that. What called my attention on this article was, as you mentioned, the app source code. Not only does it help automate it, but it's also checking the quality, right? And making sure that it's following the standards of the company. So that's got to be a huge time saver from a quality perspective, quality inspection perspective. Any other comments from the team? Any other ranking?
Nope. Supportive and important.
I'd say important as well. It's great to see banks actually apply generative AI in their workflows as opposed to a moratorium. So I think that we'll learn a lot from what they're doing.
Yeah, I wonder if Jamie Dimon had anything to do with that too, given his push on generative AI. I happen to think he's a fantastic executive. And the interesting thing, he's a self-made billionaire, but it's rare for a lot of senior executives. And a lot of the reason for that is that he took his wealth and he bet on himself. He basically bought stock in the companies that he was managing, and that's how he made a ton of money. So gotta love a guy like that. Anyway.
Yeah. All right, John. Well, thank you for joining. I know you're at MIT already, so enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll see you later tonight.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right, so we got two more articles left. So let's move on to the NVIDIA one, please. All right, and
Yes.
Chris.
So yeah, Tanya, please go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Ankash. Go ahead. Introduce the article. It's always helpful to have a little bit of a background.
Sure, Tanya. Yeah, so this article talks about how NVIDIA has expanded its MPA-based GPUs for AI design and productivity apps, and basically also providing the expanding the capacity of systems, desktop systems to work on LLMs.
Thank you. So, Chris, give us your perspectives on this.
I think it's amazing that NVIDIA keeps having new product lines launching. This seems more of a prosumer option, not really like a data center option. However, the AI processing right from your own desktop environment with their tool set is like very, very interesting. I would mark it important that just because they keep leading and keep pushing new product into the market. And this one I would think would be for that person that has like that gaming setup sort of set. You can move your entire setup into an AI-based chatbot on-premise appliance. So I think it's very cool what they're doing. I would mark this as important.
Yeah, the reason I would go for important too is in a sort of a slightly different reason. It's just something from personal experience recently. So as I imagine that obviously this is powerful enough to be running models on your own laptop and such. And I'm working on a project right now with a data scientist at a company that's not a data science company. And we're doing like a really complex modeling exercise. He's created this like amazing model, and now we're trying to run it and like get the results, and like it's taking forever, like days and days, right? He's actually going to try to farm out some of it to some of us so that like we could like literally like have a distributed computing environment that's like kind of like made with like strings and sticks, right? So I think this is a good product for companies to invest in, for their technical employees that are trying to like do amazing things, and have run into like these compute problems. So that was one reason I was flagging as important.
You need this now, right?
We do. He actually is supposed to get a new computer that's supposed to help, but I suspect it's not going to be as powerful as what it would be if it was running on this.
All right, we'll go with important, and I know we're getting close to time, so we'll wrap up with the last article, which is the one on Marcus Brownlee.
Yes. So this is not one of our typical articles, more about the recent launch of Humane AI and how one YouTube reviewer first product launch ever. Uh,
Now, I'll just add a little something. I remember, I think it was towards the end of last year when we reviewed the Human AI article. And I mean, personally, I was blown away like, oh, it's going to be able to help all the people who are blind, and it's going to be able to help all the people, like I was very hopeful. But go ahead, Chris, kick us off on your perspective of not just the product, but how these reviews happen now with influencers.
So what's really amazing to read this story is that there was a lot of hype. Like AI has probably been the biggest hype generator for any technology sector for a very long time. So the Humane AI pen was one that got a lot of press early on because it just like it was going to solve everything. Well, in reality, it didn't live up to that hype, and that might be the truth of the matter. But what happened, an influencer, Brownlee, who has millions of followers, gave it a very negative review. And I don't know if it wasn't genuine or authentic. It probably really was a very authentic review, but it was a very negative review about the brand. And it's impacted the brand to the point where is there other other people that should be involved to silence maybe the influencer's input, because that negative review could be so damaging. It could almost bankrupt a company, just to have like that opposing hype cycle. And some of these influencers definitely have a lot of credibility, and they're usually authentic, and they usually are there for a reason, because of their ability to build an audience and a community, and their word is one that their community typically trusts. So we are definitely in this new dynamic of this social influencer in a hype cycle that can really be it could make or break a brand, depending upon that recommendation. So that's what we're seeing right here, is that when that goes bad for a brand. I think it's a very interesting story. I think it's very essential, the concept of social influencer marketing in this day and age, and digital marketing. But I would just think that not everyone would need to read it. So I'd leave it as an important article.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And what came to mind is we've reviewed other technologies where, you know, we create an AI persona, right? Looks very, very, you know, we had a newscaster, I think, that we reviewed one time, and it was all generated. And, you know, what is to stop companies from creating that, making that an influencer, and then promoting their own products? Like, I don't know how we're going to work around that.
Well, I think you're seeing some stuff in Asia right now where they are like pushing the boundaries of like these 24/7 quasi TikTok, but on different platforms, sells e-commerce. And yeah, they're plugging in like sort of AI avatars as well. So I don't know if that's going to be influential or not, but I do know it's happening.
Yeah. All right, Dave, any thoughts on this one? Important.
Yeah, what was your rating, Chris? Did you go important or optional?
Important.
I put important.
You put important. Yeah, I mean, I could be convinced because, you know, we've talked about a lot of cautionary tales for companies like touting their Gen AI capabilities, and then it falling kind of flat, right? Because a lot of times we're seeing that they just don't function, right? And this is yet another case of that, right? We talked about the TurboTax, like the poor experience with that one. We've talked about IKEA, which was very surprising because they're usually on the cutting edge. Like we've seen a lot of fails, right? And this one's a tremendous fail, right? Though, because this is the whole company is built around this product. So I think for that reason, you know, understanding this market that you're going into that is under like huge scrutiny, and you know, hype has a dark underbelly, right? If you go to the other side of it. So I think companies really should start taking note of this, that, you know, brand value is important for, even if your company isn't putting out a product that is, you know, the only one that they have in this case, right? And as Ankaj actually just pointed out, that Mark Andreessen actually put out a tweet trying to counter this to help the company, like not just completely tank or whatever. But yeah, so I say important as another cautionary tale.
And next time, have your product reviewed by the influencer
First.
ahead of time. Yes.
Exactly. Right?
Get their feedback. Yes. All right. I think that completes our review. Thank you so much. And Dave, any other announcements before we close?
No, just I'll say again, you know, we'll all be at the MIT conference tomorrow. So I know some folks watching are going. So please seek us out. We would love to meet you. And we'll be broadcasting live from there tomorrow morning. So that should be an interesting show. And it'll be probably the only time this year, potentially, that we're all going to be in the same room doing it together. So it should be kind of fun. And we hope everybody joins us. So have a good day, and we will see you then tomorrow.
See you there.
Bye-bye.